Alright, lovely viewers. Today we are here in Cape Coast Castle, where colonization of Ghana actually was. Our forefathers were actually colonized here, but it's in this same castle that we started schooling and every shit that has to do with Ghana. Cape Coast happens to be the first first capital city of Ghana. So we intend to explore the Cape Coast Castle and explain to you whatever has to do with Cape Coast Castle. Let's
Pictures are free. You can ask questions. Comments are equally welcome. And I'll begin the tour first with a short introduction. After that, we go deep into England to see where the British kept about 1,000 captives. We come out and talk about some graves. We move to the field and to the jaw of gold. However, I promise all of you, today shall return. If we do that, we have ourselves condemned in cell, and if God willing, we survive the condemnation. We still have some strength and time, then we shall go upstairs to see the rest of it. Now, this is an historic Cape Coast Castle for dinosaurs, but the word Cape Coast itself, it is a corrupted Portuguese word from the word capecoast, which means short cape, and British corrupted that one into Cape Coast. This structure we are in now is the youngest and the last slave dungeon in Ghana. This country, we have 3 of these major dungeons in several of the forts along the coast that were built by Europeans. But the first one is at Romina, that was built around 1482 by Portuguese. The one in the capital, Accra, that was built by the Danish around 1661. This one was started by the British in the year 1665. So you look at all the ages, this is the youngest among the 3. This one was built at the peak of the transatlantic slave trafficking. So this trafficking started at the first castle, Elmina, not this one. And that was during the 1500s, when in the history of the whole world, there was this man called Christopher Columbus. He said he discovered the Americas, if we know that is not the truth. When he said so, the Spanish people moved from Europe to those places and they established their plantations where they needed labor to work. So they tried to use the people who owned the land, called the Native Americans, or the Red Indians, to work for them. But according to the same reviews, they said those people were not strong and they were dying from diseases. So there was a Roman Catholic bishop. His name was Bartholomew de las Casas. He suggested to the Spanish people to look for alternative source of labor to replace the Native Americans. What happened was that even before the start of the transatlantic slave trade, that Europeans came to build these structures like this along the coast of West Africa. There was what we call the trans-Saharan trade, which the Arabs threw some blacks through the Saharan desert to Europe. Some of those people were taken to Europe, especially from Spain and Lisbon. They knew, they tried it, and they proved to be physically strong. But first, they were taking Africans from Europe to the Americas to work. But with time, Africans there got finished because they were not many. So they had to come back to Africa again to take the blacks to the farms. Now at the time Portuguese built the Elmina Castle, which is not far from here. Portuguese came to Elmina in search of gold. But this country was once called Gold Coast. So gold brought the white men. They will tell you they came to spread Christianity. That is not the truth. They came because of resources. So Portuguese were at Elmina in search of gold were given a legal license by the Spanish called Asiento to transport our people from Elmina to the Americas. So the whole of West Africa, the Portuguese started this trade. They were at Elmina for some 115 years, by and selling Africans. The Dutch attacked them in 1637. So Dutch were at Elmina for 50 years. Then British also came in. When the British got here, 1664, Dutch were at Elmina, occupied this land. So British fought them. 1664, they defeated them. In 1664 was the same year, a state in North America that This dungeons, we kept 1,300 Africans at a given time. Men were 1,000, women were 300. That's what we're coming to see now. The state too is minimum in 3 months in this darkness, all because of availability of ships. But 1807, British passed a law to stop this traffic. That was led by one William Wilberforce. 1814, Holland also did the same thing. But from that time to 1860, Africa, this trafficking didn't stop. And the law continued for 14 years. So they named that one illegal. So 1860, everything stopped. They did the structure as a colonial administrative center. The British were here to the time Ghana regained independence. On the March 6, 1957, they removed the British out of the building. So the structure, as at 2024, is 359 years. That is the age of this one. Elmina, the first is some 542 years old. But those who went to the museum briefly might have seen that before they started the construction in 1665, this land changed hands from Portuguese, through Swedish people, through Danish, through Fatu. The Fatu are the local, the indigents, through Dutch before British. That was through what they were fighting. When the British defeated the Dutch in 1664, and they built the castle, they knew other Europeans would attack them. The British brought all this talent. We'll go there later the pictures. That's why they stayed here for over 200 years, and nobody conquered them. When the British were here, Dutch attacked, Danes came, French came, Germans came, sea pirates came. The sea pirates were not Africans, they were all white. But they couldn't conquer them because of the weapons. So this is a small intro before we go into the dimensions. And the tour, I will tell you more, including how they captured our people of their village, what they brought them. We stay for months before taking to the Americas and the Caribbean. So beautiful people, any question of what I said before we go to the dimensions? Yes,
May I know, like, you mentioned West Africa, so the slaves that were brought here, from how many countries?
We can't tell.
Okay.
They were all West Africans.
Okay.
Some
So
came
this was
as-
their center. Okay.
This was one of the exit points.
Okay.
This one, the Mina, Osu, and other fought along the coast.
Oh.
Some came as far as Niger,
Oh.
Mali, Burkina, like other parts of the south.
All right. All right.
Because there's no sea in Burkina. They were
Yes.
using the sea to transport them. If you are
Okay.
captured at Burkina, we brought you either here or Osu or Mina before you be taken away.
Sure. Thank you.
So along the West African coastal area, people were captured or were they trading with the people who were
We
on those
work with the Europeans to get Africans. I don't want to keep it too long. At the point we talk about this one to details.
Okay,
So just got the perfect information.
all right. Yeah, I hear you.
Great. So as you walk in there, but remember, look, this is the church, the one of the last. This is the church. This is Anglican church. These were done in the name of religion. Anglican church. As you walk there, after 3 steps, walk in the middle, those steps again, walk in the middle after 3 steps.
So this is the male slave dungeon, and it happens to be where the males were kept. Over 1,000 males from Africa, not only Ghana, were kept here to be transported to the American to work for them. And trust me, this is very sad. If you go in there, you will see the space that was keeping about 1,000 people up there. And unfortunately, on top of it is church. Let's go. Wow.
Thousands in total. But they divided the dungeons into 5. So this is 1. 200 Africans. 200. There was no electricity. That is why I switched off the lights briefly. so that you can have a feel of the original situation. So these three hosts were the only source of light and air for 200 Africans. They stayed 2 weeks, 3 months in this dungeon. So some of them got blind. Some got blind, yes. If we stay for about 5-10 minutes, we go out, immediately you can see when you use it. If you look at the floor, you can see bricks. You know they are dirty. This is original building materials. They brought all of this from England. They brought this to balance their empty ships to Africa. Going to East Africa, it has balanced away. Then the Africans were not given toilet facility on the way. So they were compelled to go to toilets here. They urinate in addition. They lie on this floor for 3 months waiting for ships. These trenches were built as their urine. When you urinate, the urine will pass through into the sea. But it reached a time that some of the Africans started fighting rich people. They wanted freedom from these dungeons. Those who were fighting were identified and brought from these dungeons to this place. So they created a dungeon. So this site was called a strong room. So British were not coming to claim the floor. So the waste started piling. It started from one level to the other to the other. We reached a time that this bricks was completely covered in waste. The waste came out, take like this. So I want to show you that. Then from here, this group move to the side from me. No, move to the side. Oh, can you move to the side? This group, come far away. Make the water, come. All right, this way. Please, come this way. This one, this one. Don't block the lights. Have you seen the light?
Yeah.
Thank you. Nobody should go here. All of you, look on this wall. You can see some dirty lines, some markings on the wall. Look down a bit. Someone blocking the lights for me. Please, this group, can you go back a bit?
Okay. Sorry.
There are some markings on the wall. Can you see?
Yeah.
Because they were not cleaning, the waste came up to this height. Watch. The waste reached this height. From the floor, it reached this level. Came all the way to this height. The bricks was covered. But take note, 1974. 1974. 50 years ago, University of Ghana Archaeological Department came to do excavation here. Before they found these bricks, also the man there was 74. So many died. Those who died were thrown into the sea. So they cleared all the waste at that time. But they left a portion of that for generations yet unborn to come and see. They want to see. So watch me. This group come. This is four. The four people come to the side. My brother. Hello. Can you come here? We are missing the lights, so can you come here? Thank you. Look inside the fence. There's something there. Like a square. Can you see? That is not a seed like the bricks.
It's human waste.
This is my waste, my neighbor. This is how the floor was like. This was tested. And it proved that it had toilet, urine, sweat, tears, and that is so this from ancestors. Because it's been a long time, it has changed like an ordinary soil. I didn't know the soil. This is ancestral waste. In these dungeons, Africans were given food once in a day, sometimes twice. Something small just to keep them alive. So we are done with the first dungeon. We are moving out to the second and to the third. So watch our steps and go down the steps. Please see bricks, please.
No.
So what do you think this one is? This is all waste. Look at the floor. In the first dungeon, they did excavation. That is why we saw the bricks. The floor here has not been touched. So you can see the floor clear. These are waste. So out of the 1,000 people, by the time British were ready to go with them, A lot of them died. Those who survived, that was not the end of their journey. They bring them from the dungeons, always chained. When he got here, then there was a hole at the back of this white cloth. Those who came first, when you were taking the pictures with the cannons and rain, those who came first, you were in the hole you didn't know. Some of you didn't go to the tunnel. So the tunnel started from here, all the way to the door of the hotel underground. But the tunnel was blocked when the parade was over. It was blocked by one British governor called Captain George McLean. And when we go outside, the hole is there, I'll show you. But here it is closed, you cannot see it. When they bring it from the darkness to where we are standing now, because they stayed here for over a month, some of them were actually sick and weak. When they got to the sick ones, they were selected and sent to that small room to go and wait temporarily, just to allow those who were strong to walk through the tunnel of the ships. That was why British created this window. Because at that time there wasn't light. So this was created for them to see who's sick and who's not sick. But this place was called selection room or sorting room. Whenever the stronger ones leave, the sick ones were brought from there. He kept them back here, but eventually all of them died because they were not given any medical attention. What we see here is a shrine, but the shrine wasn't here. You must know that before Europeans came to Africa with Christianity, an Islamic religion that was brought by the Arabs, Africa with God. Our people pray to God through smaller gods. They offer libation. Before British built the structure in 1665, the Indians who were here called the Fetu people, they had a shrine like this around this part of the land. When the British came, they occupied this place, and they built the dungeons. They stopped the local people from coming closer to offer their libation. The local people came for the shrine to their community. When the British left, they brought it back here. This was brought here around 1960. The name is Nana Tabi. Cape Coast has about 77 of these deities. Nana is one of them. If you look around, you can see flowers, which doesn't mean that someone died. The enslaved Africans, they didn't get a chance to come back alive. But the descendants like you are trying to globally. And when they come, we go on the walking toilets. In fact, many of them share the same place. So that's not prayer. We fall a mission. They do other rituals. They live this system. That's what it is. So now, we will not go to the sick bay. Walking through the tunnel, we are free. We are going out. So,
sorry, it was going to more quickly. In terms of food, you mentioned about the meat.
once a day.
How did the food get down
Okay.
here?
Europeans were coming in. They were coming all right. But if you read further, you get to know that this place was smelling. And so before they will enter to do any other, to inspect or whatever, let me just describe it. They said they would dress like, when the COVID broke out, the way our doctors dress at the hospital, you see them, they'll cover every part of their skin. Before, including their nose everywhere. Before they will enter, and they bring food and other things. They prepare food, put it in bowls like this. You come and serve them. For instance, one dungeon will have about between 5 and 7 of those bowls. It was not enough for them. So they struggle for the food. And some prefer to die than to eat in a smelling dungeon. Others embark on what we call hunger strike. So they were fed in here. They will come with guns. After that they go out. And according to the literature, they say they come in and they go out. If they don't remove their dress and shower, they couldn't get closer to their own white colleagues. But this place was smelling, stinking like dead animals. So this is what they did to us. This is the damage they caused. Look at the psychological trauma and the torture in here, in chains also. Lie on the bare floor. Not a day or 2. 2 weeks minimum, maximum 3 months in here. Even today, without any toilet, can you sleep here? You can't. We can't sleep here.
So I have a question. How did they get them from
We'll talk about
our chiefs to this
No,
place?
I'll talk about that. Don't ask it down.
Who made up that name? Who called us that? Cameroon means shrimp. Because somebody in the narrow slope, we walked out. So when we go down to the
This is where we came from. That is where the shrine is. And this is the church, the Anglican church. So where the canons are arranged now, there is a big cannon, and I need the cannon to the door of no return. Now let's talk about these graves people. The whole yard was called a graveyard. They bury a lot of people here. But they identify few of the graves, 1 and 3. This is a Ghanaian called Philip Kweku. Kweku is a Ghanaian name. But the Kweku was corrupted into Kwaku. But they couldn't pronounce our names properly. So the Kweku was made Kwaku. This man, his father, worked with the British, which I will explain later. So because of that, they took the son to England. There were 3. There were Philip, Thomas, and William. When they got to England, the 2 died. Kweku survived. British trained him as a pastor and a teacher. Came back to the country, then Gold Coast as a pastor. The teacher was assigned to preach in this church. He preached to mulatto children, not to the white, mixed race children. Kweku worked for the British for the rest of his life. He died October 17, 1816, 75 years of age. So because he worked for British, that was the only reason why they honor him in the burial. Apart from this man, all the Africans who died were thrown into the ocean, were not buried. Let's go this way. So clearly you can see that even in death there was separation. Black man and British were here. That is for one person by name C.B. Whitehead. I don't know how white the head was. But the man was called Whitehead. He was a soldier. He died 1812, age 38 till now. We don't know what killed Whitehead. This was one person by name Captain George McLean. Names like McLean, McDonald's, McCarthy, these are all Scottish names. McLean came here 1830 as a governor. It was McLean who came to block that tunnel. Before McLean came, our ancestors were going through the tunnel to the governor. He closed that. The same man started a court up there called McLean's Hall because slave trafficking lasted in Africa 400 years. After that, British colonized Ghana for 113 years. So the Ghanaians, if you remember, colonial time, the capital of Ghana was in Cape Coast. Have you heard that before? Yeah. It was moved to Accra 1877. Before Accra became the capital. That was British colonial court. McLean stayed in the castle 17 years. You know what killed McLean? He died 1847, 1846 from malaria. This is the wife of McLean, called Letitia Elizabeth Lendon. She was the only white woman who came around during the entire period of this slave trade. But within 2 months, she was found dead. There were lots of rumors at that time. A school of thought said she was killed by mosquitoes within 2 months in arrival. The other one said because McLean stayed longer, McLean wasn't going to England again. McLean has gone in for an African woman called Miss Bannerman from Accra. So when Letitia came to the head of that story, out of jealousy, she took some poison and killed herself. But the last one said that the woman that McLean was going out with, you see, the woman was a beautiful woman. She wanted to have McLean forever as the husband. When Letitia came, the Ghanaian mistress posed as a servant, then poisoned Letitia so that she get McLean to marry. So these are the theories. Somebody the devil of this lady. So till now, 2024, I don't know what killed her. But she died. She died in 1837, 10 years before McLean died, age 36. So what do you think killed Letitia? Stronger captives. They don't bring them out, so they go through a tunnel. So the tunnel started from there, all the way to the door of no return. So we're on the top of a big hole now. It's a big hole down. Okay. These ones are cannon to British. These ones are cannonballs.
All right, so we are on top of a big hole that is believed to be connecting the castle to where the ships are parked, waiting for our sisters to be transported to America and other places where they were used. So here, this is a hole. They are taken from the castle through the hole where the ship is. So this happens to be the gate of no return, where once you get here, then it means they are taking you to either America or any of the countries to be used. This is the sad story of Africa. But hey, we are free now.
That way we can hear at the back.
They are not harmful birds.
Yeah, they snap.
They are not harmful. They are harmful. They are not harmful, please.
They're harmful.
They are not. They are not harmful. They won't do anything.
They're not, they are. They are.
They birds. Oh, birds. Oh.
Very bad. Very, very.
Yeah, they're birds. They're birds.
So this happens to be the last place. When you get in, it means we're entering the sea.
Hello. My brother there. What is there a problem?
Alright, similar to when we went to Israel. The same dungeons and all that.
We are coming to see the end of the tunnel. So look, this is the end of the tunnel. They blocked it. I think it was blocked when the train was over. But originally it was open. And the length is 80 meters. Well, let's this is 80 meters. So they walk from the chain. When they got here, at first, all the men would go this way into the ships. But due to the tidal waves, the sea was entering the castle. The British then blocked that side. This became the new entrance. This was created. So from here, instead of them going this way into the ships, they pass here. But this end was blocked by McLean when the trade was over. So let's come. Cut the shot of the carrot.
Okay. Okay.
Make it simple for you.
Yeah. Okay.
They're striking people, killing.
So they were using this to protect themselves against those who come to attack them. Incredible.
Now, this is part of the tunnel. Just look down, see. You are not going inside. You are just having a look. So this pole started from where the shrine is. So they walk from there to the exit. So this was where they check on them as they go to the final exit. Exactly. They make sure they don't stop. Just move. This place and this place, these are the two openings. Also for air and light. So from the beginning, from where the shrine is to the end, these two are the only openings for air. They check on them here. This place will give them light. So look at the whole, so we can go to the end. Don't go inside, just have a look.
So they'll be in chains from
Don't go inside, you fool in. It's really steep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Serious. Two separate cells. This is one is a rest, we shall see, we shall go there later. But this cell was designed for some of the female captives that British wanted to rape, and the women refused. Europeans didn't come to Africa with their wives. They know why? Because of malaria. Malaria killed them to the extent that they named the coast of West Africa the white man's grave. So only men like us came. They left their wives like you in England to take care of their children. Our British men who were here were adults, and they couldn't stay alone for a longer time without women. So they raped the African women. But sometimes they wanted to do that, women to be fighting with them. Those who said no to rape, they locked them here. They locked them. They would stay for a week for punishment. They were doing that for other women to see. That tomorrow when they approach you, what will they do?
You allow it.
You allow it. There is a hole there, that was their toilet given to them. They passed food and water through this place once in a day, sometimes twice. Before we go to the female dungeon, this place is a little bit comfortable. Let me answer the questions that you asked earlier about the involvement of the Africans and how they got the people into this dungeon. Yes. So let's all listen carefully. I want to have your attention, please. I want to have your attention. I'm going to discuss something very interesting and important. There were several ways of getting our ancestors into the dungeon.
before they became captives. One, Europeans captured some of the people physically using guns. Two, they worked with some black people to get other black people. Because even today in the 21st century, before they can get you, they will use somebody within to do that. So to me, as a tour guide, nothing has really changed. Some Africans call slave raiders, like armed robbers. Do you know armed robbers? Are they in America, in Europe, or they're all in Africa? They're everywhere. There were some people like that when Europeans came. We can mention names like Samori and Babatu. Babatu was killed in Yendi by the Dago people. There were some people like that when Europeans came, they identified those ones. They supplied them guns, sardine, sugar, mirrors, tobacco, second-hand clothing, smoking pipes. These were the goods they brought in. That is one of the reasons why today Africans have developed tastes for things from those countries. So when the robbers accept these groups, because there wasn't money to pay, they organize themselves in groups like we are gathered now. They'll go to villages, raid at gunpoint, capture people, bring those men and women to the Europeans in the payment of what they give them. Few were deceived that they were taking them abroad for good living. They also gave themselves out. But what brought over 60% of the people was ethnic conflict, intertribal wars. And we must know from now that long before Europeans came to Africa in 1471, which was the Portuguese, then there was nothing like Ghana. Ghana is just about 67 years old. At that time, we had kingdoms. There were empires, African states. So we were ruled by kings and queens. So the kings and queens would fight each other over a boundary, just to expand their territory. Sometimes they fight over land they perceive to be rich of gold or any natural resource. But before Europeans came, our chiefs would fight with bows and arrows that they made local on our soil. And when they go to war with these locally manufactured weapons, after a long fight, one tribe or one kingdom or one state lose the war. The losers will be taken as domestic slaves. It was more like indentured servitude. Those people, they had some amount of freedom. They could marry, raise free children. They could acquire property. Later, they were integrated into the family system. They were not kept in danger like these ones. They were also not transported to Europe and Americas permanently. They were free people in society. And I believe that system of slavery has been with humans from time immemorial in ancient Rome, Egypt, even in the Bible. Let me give you a typical example. I'm a Ghanaian. In Ghana, I can tell you on authority that not long ago, if you own somebody here, he hasn't got that amount of money to pay, you can allow your son, your daughter, sometimes your wife, to go and serve the one you owe for a number of years just to pay the debt. Where are they Ghanaian? Do you remember that system?
Yeah.
Thank you. The period in which you work, they call you a slave. But they wouldn't keep you in the danger life. They would not rape you. If you're working like that and you're a woman, and you are beautiful with a good character, and somebody from the master's family should get married to you, automatically you free yourself of the slave to the part of the family, because there's no way I can enslave my wife. I don't think my brothers can do the same. We even had a system on our soil whereby if you're working as a slave then and you are a guy, you're hardworking and loyal to your master, the master can entrust his property into your hand. So in case the master is dead, you rise from nowhere to be the head of the entire family. So before Europeans arrived, they had this system already across Africa. And when they came, the situation changed quickly. They capitalized on that African system. So they brought guns to the chiefs. And the guns were brought to replace the then bows and arrows that our chiefs were using. And we know the power of the gun. They added the sardine, champagne, tobacco. They were giving to them. An African thought these things were free. It was never free. White man has no freedom. Let me be frank with you. You tell African chiefs that they need the guns to protect themselves. With the same guns to fight the other people. Take their rating. By so doing, they deepen the division among the already divided Africans. The guns get to the chiefs. They organize themselves, use their weapons to go and fight the other people. Divide and conquer. So the more they go to the war, the end result was to get innocent people like us in exchange for European goods as captives. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the system 500 years ago on the African soil. If you sit down, look at what is happening globally, you tell me, what is the difference? Has something changed?
No,
Okay.
it's happening here.
If you don't know all this and they tell the Africans, you sold your own people, they also believe them like that. It wasn't easy like that. If had not been the weapon that they brought, there wouldn't be wars in Africa. They don't get people to take away. Today there are conflicts all around the globe. You tell me, where are the weapons coming from? Are they coming from Nigeria? Are they from Ghana? No. So my big brother, what's the difference?
Makes no difference.
And the people came from all over West Africa, some from the southern part of this country, some from the northern belt, 3 northern regions, Togo, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, all over West Africa. We have places like Salaga in northern Ghana. How many of you know Salaga? I heard of Salaga. Salaga in the northern part of the country. Tumu, Paga, Nania, Pikoro, Pechima. Those were centers where they gather them. They tell me when they gather this, before they brought them to the coast, they call these places slave camps. They are slave camp for slave market. Today, when they create wars intentionally, when people are displaced, where they gather, they call them refugee camp. So they only massage the demon. From there, they will put them in chains. They will start to walk from Salaga, through Brangafo region, through Kumasi. When they got to Asemansu, they had a stopover. But some of them had worn like a year, 6 months, 8 months. So they had a stopover at Asemansu, where they were made to bath for the last time. They would shave their heads. They will give them food to eat to regain some lost energy. They will smear them with shea butter for them to look healthy and attractive. Before they brought them in for 3 months, before they were taken away. How many of you can walk from here to Kumasi today? Let alone get into B, then Salaga, then DJ. Brothers and sisters, we are before the door of no return. The door was here. This is not the original size place. During the British time, the original was like this small, which was built or designed for 1 human being at a time. They made it small in a way to control the black people. But they made it bigger like this during colonial time, after slavery, colonial period. British were taking a lot of raw materials from this colony to England. They made the door bigger so that everything would go through. So this came colonial period. Elmina Castle has original. You go there where you can see the original of it. And if you go through this door of no return, during a time of slave trade as a black person, 1, you will lose your identity. You will lose your culture, respect, dignity, and everything. From here, some of the captives were taken to North America, United States, places like Jamestown in Virginia, North and South Carolina, and all the original British colonies in America, and 13 original colonies. The Africans who were taken there passed through this very castle. Some went to England, Liverpool. And ladies and gentlemen, Liverpool was the biggest slave harbor in the whole of Europe, Liverpool. Others went to Bristol, Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, including Barbados. And those who were taken to Brazil, Brazilians, were taken from the Elmina Castle, because Brazil was a Portuguese colony. Some Brazilians were taken from Angola and Congo, and Suriname, Dutch Guyana, Curacao. Those who went there were taken from Elmina by the Dutch. Those who went to the French Caribbean, they were taken from Senegal, Gorée Island. Those who were taken to Haiti, they were taken from Benin and some part of Nigeria. And interestingly, Brazil received the largest number of slaves from Africa. You didn't know that. Brazil got 47% of the entire slaves from Africa. And Brazil is the 3rd largest black population in the whole world, outside Nigeria, in Ethiopia. As of today, 2024, Brazil has a black population of about 93 million. That is the first outside Africa. Yes.
Africa.